It's a beautiful morning. I think I'll go out.
Hello everyone and welcome to a Krebs Coho game review. This time around I'm going to be doing a review of the game From Dust. From Dust is a multi-platform game. Came out within the last few weeks, and well, I'm going to be reviewing the PC version of that game. Righto, so I've got a few points set out of From Dust. I've played the game the full length, and I've played a few of the time trials, so I'm just going to be covering a few points, just get right down to the bare bones, and tell you guys what I think about it and what the game is about. So, From Dust is basically a god game. What it can reminisce with for the people that have experience with PC games is sort of like Black and White. Obviously, Black and White is a little bit different. You have a creature, for example, and it's heavily oriented around miracles and actually the interactions of those miracles with the villagers and stuff like that. Whilst From Dust is obviously coming out about, what, 10 years later than from Black and White? And so this is more about the environment and how the environment has an opposing effect on what you need to accomplish. So basically the environment changes in ways such as water eroding away at rocks, causing them to turn to sand. You've also got sand, which you can place over water, and the sand will be displaced by the water. And so the only way that you can solidify that sand is possibly by growing trees over it, which spreads out from your village. The also other alternative to water is lava in the game, and the lava is the way that the land is formed. So when that lava meets a cooled area, or it just starts slowing down, or meets some water, for example, then just solidifies into a sort of mass, and eventually that just becomes some sort of land, obviously. And so that is just the main purpose of the game, basically how the world opposes you from accomplishing your goals. Now that has a lot of potential. We don't usually see many god games, and so I thought this would be a very refreshing game, and indeed it is. What I want to cover with first is, let's say, the menu, for the first point in the menu. So for example, the menu is very simplistic. There's really nothing much to see there. You have your standard few options, but one thing I really noticed and sort of caught my attention in an irritating way is that there's no way to change the graphic settings. Now, I'm not exactly sure why this was not included. It sort of reminds me of a limited sort of Crisis 2, where the graphic settings were hardly alterable. Maybe you can alter them manually, but I'm not exactly sure. That was a bit upsetting. I was hoping that there would be some sort of way to alter the settings, the graphical settings. On to point number 2, the story mode, so the actual campaign. Well, the story mode goes over about 13 or so maps, and what you'll be doing is following these villagers, these sort of tribal people, and finding about their ancestors. And in order to find out about their ancestors, they have to travel from world to world via passages after accomplishing all the goals and setting up totems, the villages in each world. So there's about 13 or so maps in story mode, and I was actually shocked at how short that was. The first few maps are very basic. They give you a hang of what's going on, and they literally last probably about a minute or two. So it was quite disappointing that it was actually so short. The overall length of the game, well, just the story mode alone, I would say took me about 2.5 hours to accomplish. It really was not that long. The story is also not that in-depth. All you know is basically that there's a shaman, and he's saying, oh, we need to discover what there is about the ancestors, and in order to do this we need to obviously expand and conquer all these, or expand all these villages, and so then we can move on and hopefully get the miracles, the powers of the ancestors. So there really is not that much story behind it. It's just basically trying to go through all these puzzles. Third point, multiplayer. There is no multiplayer. I do believe there are leaderboards and you can compare time trial times and stuff like that. However, there is no multiplayer. You can't actually do co-op or anything like that. Another disappointing factor in my opinion. The plus side is, however, there are time challenges, and there are quite a multiple array of them. In order to unlock these time challenges, you have to actually accomplish certain goals in each map, such as covering the entire map with vegetation, Also, unlocking some of these are I don't even know what to call it, memorial stones or something like that, with one of your villagers, and so it unlocks these time challenges. And these time challenges, there's about 20 or so. I haven't counted the exact number, and they're very straightforward. Basically, it's just to do with water, lava, and all that stuff, and just trying to accomplish a certain thing before the time runs out. If the time runs out, for example, maybe a tsunami will engulf you before you can actually get the miracle to hold, keep your base, your village safe, for example. And so the challenges themselves are very basic. If you have a grasp of the game, it'll be no problem whatsoever to do it. I don't feel personally very motivated in order to actually get the fastest possible time in the world. To be honest, I really could care less. I was hoping with this game that I could actually get a satisfaction out of just a free world sandbox being a god. That was my hope. So I was quite disappointed with the time challenges. Very straightforward, nothing much else to say there. The overall conclusion with the game has much potential, definitely does. Especially Black and White was such a hit back in the day when it came out. It's very, very revolutionary. I'm very surprised that nobody followed the footsteps of Black and White and created more God games. I'm very glad that this came out. It has a lot of potential. It really does. The whole factor about the environment changing is just very interesting. However, it wasn't executed as much as possible. It's very limited in that respect. So basically the only thing that you could imagine that's changed in the world is water and lava. So that is very limited. The developers of the game actually said that they would be willing to add in certain features over time, depending on sales. So for example, they did mention that they were thinking about putting in a weather system, for example, but that of course was going to depend on how sales turned out. Now I do believe they must have gotten a lot of sales, so I'm really hoping that they add on these features and they give them for free. That brings me on to my second point in this conclusion. The game cost me £11.99, and that was pre-order as well. I don't believe it was actually on discount or anything. For £11.99, and basically only being able to play this game for about 3 hours in total, it's, in my opinion, definitely not worth it. Well, I would give this game in total, I'm not sure if I would even rate it any stars or anything like that. Not because it's so bad or anything like that. It has a lot of potential, however, not executed it properly. The developers can improve it though with a bit of work. What I would recommend, however, is don't buy this game. If your friend has it on Steam on a computer, go on their account, go on their computer and play it there. I don't think it's actually personally worth the £11.99. If it was, for example, £3 or £4, yeah, go for it. But the £11.99, not worth it. You won't be missing that much. Very tempting game to try. However, you won't really be missing that much. Hopefully that covers everything. Lots of points to take into consideration. Hopefully the developers will improve the game with more features and more maps and stuff like that. A larger story, I would very much appreciate that, especially for the price of $11.99. But anyway, guys, that pretty much covers everything, and hopefully that will give you guys a sort of basis of whether you should buy From Dust or not. Good game, however, not worth it in terms of the price. Until next time, guys, this is Krebs, Coho, and bye-bye.